There was an article that came out in the Miami Herald March 2nd, just 6 days ago, and it stated that Florida Representative Darren Soto and Puerto Rican resident Commissioner Jennifer Gonzalez introduced a bill in the House of Representatives Tuesday that would enable Puerto Rico to be admitted into the United States as an American state. Puerto Rico currently has its own country tax rates that has tax brackets as high as 33%. If it becomes a state of the USA, Puerto Rico will not only have its high tax rate of 33%, but the U.S. federal rate, which is as high as 37%, which will make Puerto Rico's total tax rate higher than California's 13.3% rate. And number two's highest tax rate state-wise is Hawaii, which has 11% state income tax. Now, these two states now have the two highest state income taxes in the U.S. All right, now in this video, I'm going to give you the facts on why I would not be moving to Puerto Rico to lower your taxes at this point in time. And if you're already there now, you should have a backup plan to shift out of Puerto Rico and get your taxes down even lower if this bill is passed. Instead, I'll give you an alternative should this bill get passed. Also, if you're making at least $150,000 US a year and have a net worth of at least $1 million US, and you want to learn more how to legally get your taxes to zero or how to get a second passport as quick as 3 months, do three things. Hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen right here, and you'll get new videos as they come out automatically. And don't forget to hit the notification bell next to that subscribe button. And number two is I'd like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, just put it below. And number three is go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and ask for some help. All right, now the bipartisan bill establishes a process to allow the unincorporated territory of Puerto Rico to shed its 68-year-old Commonwealth status. Island residents would participate in a federal binding election called by the governor to choose whether or not Puerto Rico would or should immediately be granted statehood status. If the status option prevails, the U.S. president would declare the results and a date on which the island would become a state. Puerto Rico has been part of the nation since 1898, when through the Treaty of Paris it passed from the Spanish government to the American government, said Gonzalez as she stood outside the U.S. Capitol alongside other lawmakers. Now, the legislation push for Puerto Rico statehood comes after Governor Pedro Pierluisi announced he planned to fund elections for shadow representatives that would lobby for it in Washington. It also follows a November 2020 non-binding referendum where 52.52% of voters voted yes for statehood status. The quality of life in Puerto Rico would be much better if we get equal access in terms of voting rights, Pierluisi told the Miami Herald in an interview. Imagine having two senators like Florida does and having also 4 representatives batting for Puerto Rico. Now, Puerto Rico is grappling with the pandemic, a series of earthquakes that began over a year ago, and it continued to actually rattle the island, and the ongoing recovery from Hurricane Maria, which killed thousands and demolished critical infrastructure. Becoming a state could allow the island to access additional federal funds, have stronger representation in Congress, and the right for vote for as far as voting for president. Detractors support the island's status quo relationship or want outright independence for a broad variety of reasons, from concerns that statehood is colonial to fears that Puerto Rico would lose its cultural identity. It's not the first time a law related to Puerto Rico statehood has been presented in the American legislation. 7 have been introduced since 2013. In March 2019, Soto and Gonzalez also introduced a bill to permanently annex Puerto Rico into the Union. Later that year, in October, former Representative Jose Serrano, in conjunction with the pair, presented a project charting a path for statehood admission for the island. None have become law so far. Proponents say this time is different, setting their hopes on a Democratic majority in both chambers of Congress and a Biden presidency. They also point to the 2020 referendum asking Puerto Ricans if they'll support statehood, calling the results a ringing endorsement. In a letter asking colleagues to co-sponsor the bill, Soto and Gonzalez say that an absolute majority had favored statehood. The U.S. Congress is in a change in a charge of admitting new states into the American Union per the Constitution. New Mexico Senator Martin Henrich plans to introduce the bill on the Senate side. Now, while campaigning in Florida last year, Biden said he personally supports statehood for the island. This is what you got to understand. The president now is supporting this. So there's a good chance this is going to get through. But his official position stance is in favor of self-determination, a position many Puerto Ricans in Florida see as an attempt to avoid weighing in on a divisive topic. What self-determination looks like is unclear. Some say Congress should move forward in passing a bill, given that a majority on the island voted in favor of annexation. Others think island residents need to be consulted in a more substantial way before moving forward. There is a segment that supports it because they see it may be more or have more certain benefits for the Democratic Party for Puerto Rico, and they also see it perhaps as a question of civil rights, Cordero said. All right, I'm going to give you my evaluation on this matter, and it is as follows. In my opinion, the Puerto Rico will become a state of the USA because the majority of the people in Puerto Rico want it. And the Democrats want to make Puerto Rico a state, including Biden, because Puerto Rico tends to vote liberal, which will just give more electoral votes to the Democratic Party when the president of the U.S. is elected. If you're thinking about lowering your overall taxes and you are a U.S. citizen, I would move overseas and qualify for the foreign earned income exclusion in a pure tax haven country such as St. Kitts, or move to Ecuador that has a territorial tax system in place, and then relinquish your U.S. citizenship. If you want to get a second pass, I would pick the St. Kitts option because you can get that like in 4 months. If you're from a high tax country like Germany, France, Australia, or Canada that taxes high worldwide income to its residents, you would need to do whatever is necessary to break your residency ties to that country tax-wise, and also consider getting a second passport. Also, if you're making at least $150,000 US a year and or have a net worth of at least $1 million US, and you want to legally get your taxes to zero, have to get a second passport as quick as 3 months, do 3 things. Hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen here, and you'll get new videos as they come out automatically. And don't forget to hit the notification bell next to that subscribe button. And number 2 is I'd like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, just put it below and I'll get back with you. And number 3 is go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and hit the top bar of any page that says apply with us, and then fill out the questions, and then hit that bar on the bottom of the page that says send it to us so we can help you get started in solving whatever problem you've got. We deal with a lot of citizenship by investment and residency by investment countries all over the world that I think you'd be interested to learn about, and I'll look forward to talking to you on the next video. Take care.